How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about House Democrats and the Judiciary Committee launching their own investigation into Donald Trump, those that are around him, businesses that are around him, et cetera, so on and so forth. Now, what they're trying to find is any evidence of abuse of power and obstruction of justice. The question here is, why are they doing this? What is the purpose of this new investigation? Well, the simple answer is that they're trying to keep the resistance going. That's all that it is. Democrats in the House have pretty much sworn that they're going to obstruct whatever he does. Nancy Pelosi has kind of an unofficial policy. It's not really written on paper anywhere that I've seen, but everybody pretty much knows she wants to obstruct Trump no matter what. It doesn't matter if Trump came out with a cure for cancer that costs $1 and they needed to have the House pass it. They would say, no, we're not going to do that because Trump is behind it. It doesn't matter if it'll help them, if it'll help the whole world. That's irrelevant. It's all about trying to keep the resistance going. That's the whole purpose. That's why they got into office in the first place. A lot of them ran on that. That was a campaign promise to try and get Trump impeached, removed from office, and definitely to keep him out of the office in 2020 as far as the election is concerned. So that is the whole purpose, to try and obstruct Trump. It's not even about really trying to get anybody in trouble that actually did anything. They're going to try to find any little ticky-tack thing to get anybody pinched for, just like Bob Mueller. And speaking of Bob Mueller and the whole Russia kerfuffle, that whole thing is coming to an end rapidly, and there's nothing there. Man, they done found guys have done some things like lying to Congress or lying on tax forms 10 years ago, something like that. Some guys have gotten locked up, but there's nothing that actually links Trump to the Russian Federation as far as collusion is concerned. It's not me saying it. It's the Senate Intelligence Committee. They came out and said it like 3 weeks ago, and I'll place information about that in the box below if you want to read it for yourself. Or don't take my word for it. They said it. The Mueller report is not out yet, but when it comes out, the same thing that the Senate said about Russia and Trump colluding with each other not happening will be in there. So they got to keep the whole game going. They got to keep the whole resistance going. Now, this is part of their campaign strategy. They're going to try to do this for as long as they can, as long as they're actually in the House, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, however long they need to do it. They're going to keep doing it. But the problem is a lot of people, just regular normies out there in the world, don't like this. They're saying, wait a minute. Okay, we voted you in here to get things done. Okay, we voted you in here to actually be productive in Washington, D.C. So if you're going to go up there and act a fool and just obstruct and do petty things to the president, you might not even like the president, but you don't like their pettiness and their childish behavior. Trump spoke on that at CPAC and did a marvelous job, a fantastic job. That's when he cussed and everybody kind of clutched their pearls when he said BS, because he was right. It's like, look, they don't have anything. They're going to try to do whatever they can. Nothing came up of the whole Russia kerfuffle. Stormy Daniels ain't nothing there. Ain't no sexual harassment, sexual assault. So you're going to try to get me on obstruction of justice and abuse of power. What is that anyway? Is there a clear and defined law for a violation under what would be called abuse of power? How about obstruction of justice? I'm not really sure what they're going to try to get him or anybody around him on. And to speak about those that have been, summoned for information, it's like 81 people and entities. They're going to try to get them to roll on Trump the same way Mueller did with the other guys. But if Mueller found nothing with 2 years worth of research, how are you going to find anything in 2 weeks? It's a 2-week period of time to try and get these documents turned over from the people that they request. They're going to do interviews behind closed doors with people and stuff like that. But I think the result will be the exact same from Mueller's investigation, which will be nothing. You won't find anything. There will be no impeachment. And in many ways, these little investigations are like impeachments, because that's what an impeachment is pretty much. It's kind of a court that decides whether or not the president should be removed from office. That's pretty much what it is. And I'm hearing things like they're going to try to use the Constitution to get Trump out, to say he's unfit and stuff like that. You heard that from Michael Cohen snitching on his former associate, Rob Rosenstein, okay, talking about he wanted to get Trump out of office. He wanted to remove him, use the Constitution. But are they going to find anything here? I doubt that they will, but it doesn't really matter, really, as I close. It's all about just trying to keep the resistance going. That's it. As long as their constituents see the resistance happening, as long as those that like them that can't vote for them because they're not in the same state, they got a felony or whatever the case may be, maybe too young, as long as they think that they're doing the right thing, that's all that really matters in their mind. But at the end of the day, it may actually backfire on them and cause them to have more problems coming up in 2020 to be reelected. Because one thing you got to remember is that they got to keep the majority in the House and try to regain it in the Senate and then try to get the presidency to try and get some things going, because we already got the Supreme Court lined up and sewed up. RBG has one foot in the proverbial grave. They know that if she passes away under Trump, which is probably going to happen, either she passes away or she retire, that we'll have total dominance in the Supreme Court. Right now, we're kind of there a little bit, but you still have Justice Roberts as kind of the swing vote in the Supreme Court. But if we get 6 conservatives in there versus 3 liberals, it'll be a wrap. We won't lose anything anymore when it comes to court cases. So that's all it is. More resistance, more obstruction, more anti-American behaviors from the left, as always. So that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Do you think that they will find anything in the new investigation into Trump? Will they find any obstruction of justice? Will they find any abuse of power? Do you think anybody's going to snitch out of the 81 people and entities that have been summoned by the House committee? How do you feel about this happening? Should this be considered harassment? Should it be considered like frivolous? Because you've already had one investigation into Trump. The investigation was supposed to be about Trump and Russia colluding. It wound up being a tax audit, all kind of just wide-ranging stuff. I'm hearing about Stormy Daniels. I'm hearing about all kind of unrelated things. I think this investigation is coming up soon is the same as one that just ended, or that will end pretty soon. But I could be wrong. Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.